Hi and welcome to Fun Swedish. Today we will help you understand 5 short but very confusing Swedish words. And if this video gets more than 1,000 likes, we will do part 2 with 5 more short confusing Swedish words. So subscribe now so you don't miss any future videos. And let us know in the comments which other words you would like us to explain to you in part 2. Now, let's get started with the video. Number 1. You. So many of you ask us about the little word you. It's a word that kind of means everything and nothing at the same time. Google Translate translates it to either right or of course. But it's not the same right as the Swedish words precis, såklart or naturligtvis. I would say that the Swedish word you is kind of untranslatable to any English word, because you should be translated rather to a feeling than a word. You is mainly used in spoken Swedish to show that you want to put emphasis on something in a sentence. And the exact meaning of you kind of depends on the sentence. Let's look at this example. Det var roligt. That was fun. Det var ju roligt. That was fun. As you can see here in the example with the you, we put more emphasis on the sentence. We kind of highlight this, it was fun. What? These are 2 sentences without really a context, and you kind of need a context to understand 100% the meaning of the you. But let's pretend that we're talking about Swedish lessons with Fun Swedish. Maybe you think that studying Swedish is boring, but after attending one of our lessons, you realize that learning Swedish was actually fun. Then this would be a perfect moment to say, det var ju roligt. You could skip the you in this sentence and just say, det var roligt. But by putting the you here, you put emphasis. And in this case, you also show a surprised, happy face. Something like you're saying, wow, that was fun. But again, you doesn't really mean anything. You just add the emphasis to the thing you want to say. Let's look at another example. Jag sa det. I said it, or I said that. Jag sa ju det. I told you so. And here, depending on a bit of the meaning, what you're talking about, it can either be an angry, I told you so, or just, oh, I told you so. That's why in order to use you kind of need a context, because you normally refers to something that you talked about before, or something that happened in the past. Jag sa ju att svenska med Fun Swedish var lätt och roligt. I told you that Swedish with Fun Swedish was easy and fun. Another example of you comes from this very popular cartoon and song for kids called Arne Alligator. And it's about an alligator called Arne. In this song they sing Arne Alligator har ingen dator, which kind of means Arne Alligator doesn't have a computer. And in the song he defends himself by singing Jag kommer ju från djungeln, which here can be translated to, well, I'm from the jungle, giving that feeling that of course I don't have a computer, because I'm from the jungle and I don't need one. And the Swede can kind of pick up this attitude by just adding the you in the sentence. So that was it for you. Now we have come to our second confusing word. Number 2, nog. In some ways, nog works a little bit like the word you. Tricky to translate directly, but used very often to change the feeling to a sentence a bit. And it's used very often when you're not 100% sure about something, but you still want to say something. Like in this conversation at work. Varför inte Anders på mötet? Why isn't Anders at the meeting? Han fikar nog. He's probably having a fika. But nog can also be used when you want to tell someone to do something, but in a nice and polite way. Very often combined with the verb tror. Then it gives out a polite vibe to a suggestion. Bartendern till sin fulla gäst. Jag tror nog att du ska gå hem och sova nu. I believe or think that you should go home and sleep now. Or in this example. Den där svenska kursen är nog inte så bra för dig. That Swedish course is probably not that good for you. Plugga med Fun Swedish istället. Study with Fun Swedish instead. which you can do right now with our video courses. No matter if you're 100% beginner or all the way up to upper intermediate, we have a video course for you. Lots of people have taken them already and left some very nice reviews. But try them out yourself and let us know what you think. The link is up here and in the description below. Moving on, number 3, lov. This word is used for so many different things, so that's why it's so confusing. Depending on the sentence, it can mean permission, promise, praise, duty, leave, and break, like summer break. Let's look at some examples. It means permission in situations like this. Får jag lov att gå före dig i kön? And this can be translated to something like, may I have the permission to jump in before you in the queue? And it's a very polite way of asking it. Or in this phrase, fancy waiters sometimes say, vad får du lov att vara idag? This one sounds super weird if you translate it directly to English, but it's a more formal and politer way for the waiter to ask about what you want to order. It's like they're asking something like, what do you permit yourself to eat or have today? Then lov can also mean promise, like in these examples. Jag lovar att inte säga något till din mamma. I promise I won't say anything to your mom. Or, lovar du att komma på festen? Do you promise that you will come to the party? Lov is also used in the fixed expression tack och lov, which kind of works a bit like thank God. But what we actually say is completely different. Let's look at some examples how we use this expression. Tack och lov att du kom i tid. Thank God that you came on time. Vi mår bra, tack och lov. We are doing well, thank God. And then lov can also be translated in English to the English words leave or break, especially in school situations, and very often together with words such as sommar, jul, and påsk. Sommarlov, summer leave or summer break. Jullov, Christmas break. Påsklov, Easter break. Like in this conversation. Varför är du hemma? Why are you home? Det är ju sommarlov. It's summer break. But in our eyes, the Swedish eyes, lov is really not a break. It's permission. We have permission to enjoy the summer and leave school. Moving on to our third confusing Swedish word. And this is kanske or kanske. Our word for maybe. And the confusing part here is the pronunciation. Because you can hear two types of pronunciation of this word, and this is very confusing for people studying Swedish. Some Swedish speakers say kanske and some say kanske. And some Swedes actually mix and say both. Both pronunciations are correct, and it depends a bit on the dialect and maybe even preference. I personally say kanske, but it doesn't sound weird for me to say kanske either. As long as you don't say kanske, then it's fine. If you have seen our previous word about how you pronounce the K, then you maybe remember that the K has different sounds depending on what word comes after. If the K is followed by an A, like in this case, ka, then it becomes a K sound, ka. But if the K is followed by an E, then again you can either say more of a sh sound or a sh sound, but not a k sound. So that's why again we say either kanske or kanske. And this rule is not only with an A and an E. It has also to do with a hard or soft vowel. And if you want to know more about this, check out this video we made about it. And then we have come to our final confusing Swedish word. Number 5, nöt. Nöt is confusing because sometimes it means nut and sometimes it means beef. Very confusing and dangerous if you are a nötallergiker, allergic to nuts. Also important to know if you are a vegetarian. Let's look at some sentences where you can hear this word. Är det nöt eller fläsk? Is this beef or pork? Sometimes we like to add kött after nöt just to avoid confusion. So you can also say nötkött instead of just nöt. And a very Swedish tradition during Christmas is to hide a nut in the porridge. And maybe you can say this if you find it. Jag hittade en nöt i min gröt. I found a nut in my porridge. And hopefully it's a nut and not beef. That was it. Now, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and put a like before you go. Hej då!